Hello and welcome to We Women Want. This is our weekly show where we discuss issues pertaining to women, whether it is domestic violence, whether it is fad diets, fashion, health. We've had shows on breast cancer, we had shows on IVF, parenthood. In fact, today that is one of the topics we're going to be picking up, the work-life balance. And why is it a domain mostly for mothers rather than fathers? The whole question of when to have kids. Of course, now there are many choices also. Women can postpone motherhood. There is the availability of IVF, of egg freezing. Is that a good option? What are the old timers say? In fact, this debate was sparked off recently by Upasana Konidela, who advised women, who gave a lecture to young students, young girls at a college, and she advised them on freezing the eggs. And she says, you can, go give more priority to your career, postpone your motherhood. Of course, the Zoho founder Siddharth Vembu jumped into this debate, and he said, please don't postpone parenthood. It is not healthy. And you also owe your demographic debt to society and ancestry. I found that pretty interesting. So to discuss that, I'm going to open the discussion. I have with me Dr. Tanya Bakshi Rodgi. She's the director at IVF Reproductive Medicine and Oncofertility at Max Specialty Hospital. I have Shalini Singh. She is a founder of AnviMet. That's a community for single Indians above 26 years and above to meet. It's a matchmaking site. And Vishaka Gupta. She's a partner at Adios Law. Shalini, I'll begin with you first. In fact, you're the one who flagged this off to me. This whole debate on motherhood, I know there are options. We'll get Dr. Tanya to tell us the medical part of it, but the societal pressures that women face, how do you handle that?
So the societal pressure, I think we have a talk with them because there are a lot of women on AnviMet who are actually 28 and above, who when they tell us that they want to enter into a relationship because they want to be a mother, a parent, we just have a discussion, a deep discussion with them on understanding the whole concept of a relationship. Is it just because of motherhood, or is it because they want to be in a relationship and take it ahead? So that's what we talk about. And if somebody really insists, we also recommend that see your doctor, go to a sperm bank, become a mother, become a parent, and then they question that acceptance of me being a mother. To enter a relationship will be tougher, and also
The single mother.
as a yeah, I mean, yeah. So that my parents will also not agree to this. So these are the kind of discussions we have.
Okay, I'll come back to that. But Tanya, a little bit on the medical part, of course, at what age is egg freezing good? What is the advice you give people? But should women postpone parenthood? There was also a medical, a biological reason for having children early.
So thank you. Really pertinent topic today. And I would say when we say about reproductive choices and reproductive autonomy, I think we're empowering the women, but based on your own health and based on science. So there is a central dogma of biology and the biological clock. So we know that 20s is the time when your fertility and where your health is at its best. So there was a time generations ago where our grandmoms had kids really early when they were 13, 14. That's really not the best time to have kids. We used to have a high maternal mortality. So we would have more mothers die, we would have more babies dying. Then we came to the point that is 20 is the best time. And yes, it is, because each of us have a reserve with our eggs where the younger you are, the healthier are your eggs and better chances of having a healthy baby. But at the same time, science has come to an innovation point where we can make the crossroads really balance out the two choices. Now, there's nothing right and wrong about it, but it has to be a really scientifically based choice. So, is every 20-year-old healthy to become a mother? No, because it's not just you want to have a baby. You should be able to become a mom and to have all the roles that you want to play along that. You want to be at the peak of your career. You want to make your choices with your right partner. You want to choose and delve into various situations where you want to try out a few before you want to say, that's right, that's what I want to do. But with pregnancy, it's either you become pregnant and you become a mom, you don't just try it out. So egg freezing is really an empowerment, but it's an empowerment which you should understand. It's an option, as you said. It's a choice. It's not a guarantee. But is it the right choice for you? Is it the right age for you? Is it the right process for you? Because it is a surgical process. It is a process which has its pros and cons, and you've got to balance the two, the benefit and the risks. So I definitely feel that when you come and visit your doctor, be it your GP or your reproductive health consultants, have a full-on discussion based on your overall health, which means your health with your fertility hormones. You look at your health. Are you in the right mental space? Are you in the right frame of mind to become a mom? And if not, is this a choice you would like to consider? Then why not? You make that choice whether you want to be a mom in your 20, in your 30, or in your 40. But freezing egg doesn't stop at egg freezing. I think we have to look at the next step. As you said, does it stop? No. Because when you decide to become a mom, is your overall health at 45 going to be as good as your 35? You could have frozen your eggs when you're 32, but when you decide to use them at 45, maybe your partner's sperm is 46. Is his health as good? Do you have diabetes? Do you have hypertension? Do you have any other issues, medical conditions that you're dealing with? And today we know that all medical issues, even with the youngsters, are rising. We have younger people having blood pressure issues, cardiac issues, and even sudden deaths, especially post-COVID. So I think it is making the right decision based on your overall health, which includes your mental space as well.
Yeah, so that is something I want to also discuss, the mental space. I also have with me Vishaka, and can I congratulate you? You're going to be a young mother soon and a successful lawyer. So you are really the example of what we are talking about, the work-life balance.
Not so young.
No, no, very much so.
Yes. I think as in my profession, I feel like being uh, the balance is very hard to get as a woman and then as a mother, which I'm seeing it slowly, but I think what it needs is a support system. I think I've been very lucky to have a very great support system in office, at home, where I have the luxury at the moment to sort of, plan the way that I want my day to look like. But in the larger scheme of things and in the society at large, it's not as easy as it is at the moment for me, because you see the corporate sector has timings. You have obligations to your boss, you have obligations to your client, and the fact of and the fact that, well, if you say, okay, I'm pregnant, can I take the day off, is not looked at it with concern, but it's also looked at with, okay, she's now going to be off, and she's not going to give her 100%. So it gets added to your mental, as well as, I mean, physical is obviously there, but mental health and mental stress is what needs to be understood by the society before we go to something like that.
I'd like to just take from here, what she just said, because, and when we talk about women, right, when they go for their jobs, they're asked, and if they're single, they're asked, when are you going to get married? Okay, now let's just say, I mean, as if, okay, so that's a big concern. So they may not get even a job. So they lie, right? Even if they're going to get married 2 months later or 6 months later. And if somebody who's married and doesn't have children, she goes for an interview, the next question is, when are you planning a baby? As if, planning a baby just happens like that. So, and then based on that, so I think women kind of push back all of this because they want to be professionals, they want to be financially independent. So they are caught between both of this, that what should they do? And similarly, even support, like she said. I mean, I think both the parents of the couple should actually be very supportive here so be it the boy's parents or the girl's parents, which is changing, but not completely.
No, so apart from that, I agree with her, the support system, the societal pressure, but the mental pressure and the health is also very important, the biological clock that you talked about.
So I think what we have to be mindful of is each of us, we keep talking about the biological clock. So now I would be happy to say that, we did a survey, we did a 10-year survey of our own center at Max and off Delhi. And the girls, we do see a shift in ages. There was a time where we were getting ladies in their late 30s and early 40s coming to us as a panic button to say, oh my God, I've just done this test and it shows that potentially my egg reserve is lowered, or they've read it somewhere that fertility declines after 35. Is it real? Yes, it's real. And they come and say, should I freeze my eggs now? So if we are talking that when is the right time? The best time to freeze your eggs is really in your mid 20s to your late 20s to your early 30s.
Okay.
So under 35. Why? Because the way we are born, there is a huge difference in the biology between a man and a woman. So we are not creating new eggs. We are born with the lot we will have, and we start losing them very early. Plus, even stresses, medical health. Overall, we talk about even pollution. We talk about the food we are eating, the diet that we have, the plastics that it is. हमारा पानी उतना साफ नहीं है, हमारा हवा इतना साफ नहीं है. So as biology is changing, the fertility that we had 10 years ago at 20 is not the same as we have it now. So while we're mindful of the fact that the clock is ticking, so if you want to consider this, if you're looking, as we all are talking about jobs, and often we are very proactive about getting the right, kind of break in career, are we that proactive about our biological health? So if we think there's an option there, and when is the best option? The best option would be when you're younger, under 35, because you potentially would need a lesser amount of eggs to be stored because they would be healthier and they would give you a better chance later on. So if you're under 35, you need a lesser number of eggs to be stored, versus if you're in your 40s, you would need a larger number of eggs to be stored, because the attrition that happens once you've frozen to you're going to defreeze them and then use it with your partner's sperm to get a healthy embryo would be different. So we have to be mindful of a choice. We have to be mindful of our own age. To optimize the chance of a procedure is to use it at the right time. So the younger you are, the better the success. But does that mean that someone who's late 30, 37 or 38 and wants to come and freeze her eggs, we should tell her don't do it? That's not true. You have to have a counseling, discuss about your probabilities, and then see if it works for you.
So, Vishaka, what is we've understood the pros and cons of egg freezing from medical and other basis, but in terms of just societal choices, and a lot of your peer group, are they opting for early motherhood? Are they waiting? Is career more given more priority? And which is fine, because now girls are realizing the importance of being financially independent also.
I think our generation is one which is stuck not only in the past but also in the rat race of trying to catch up with the future. Nicely put. So we want to hold on to, and we've seen our mothers and we've seen like the peer group who has already embraced motherhood, and it's beautiful. But it also comes with the balance of to what extent, and if I've run from A to B in my career, now if I stop or if I pause, because it's going to affect my it's going to affect the career choices that I've already made. Do I have the luxury to sort of take that break, and a complete break is a question that I think every professional has to understand and has to sort of figure out in their career. The added, I think, coming from what ma'am was saying, was even if we consider egg freezing, or if we consider the medical decisions between 25 to 35 or 20 to 35, I don't think I knew about egg freezing when I was 20. I did not know even at 27, 28. I got to know it now at 30. I and it comes with a cost. I don't think my peers and are uh, are that financially stable anymore. I mean, it's a huge difference between what our parents had in terms of finances when they were rearing their own children between 20 to 30 and where we are today. I would not call myself as financially stable as somebody who's 40 today. Correct. So that sort of also impacts my medical as well as my decision making on pregnancy. Added on to that, of course, is the societal pressure that I want children. Now, my generation is also
Questioning that, absolutely. From single child norm to do I really want a child?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we're very happy with, I mean, it's of course a choice, but we're also very happy with either living independent from our parents, independent and also having pets. We're very happy with that sort of a decision making as well. And we're also very happy with not even getting married at all. So I think the that's why I said that our real
Riders.
yes, our field is so wide because we're not only in the past, but we're also like seeing the future, and we're in the middle, and we're like, which way do we go? Because we have sort of gotten the burden of trying to pull them both together and sort of carve out a new path that you can have it all. So yeah.
So I'm going to take a break and come back and talk to you about the vast choices that are also influencing our decision really at the end of the day. And of course, we've talked about the biological pressures, but also the societal pressures and the new age pressures, or the new age thing, lifestyle choices that people are making. So after a quick break. Hello and welcome back to We Women Want. This week we are discussing, well, the choices of motherhood. Should you have a child early? Because now there are options available. You can, you can freeze your eggs, you can go in for IVF, you can go in for adoption, you can be a single mother, you can, decide to not have children and still not, live through life without a mother-in-law and someone, pouncing on you. And I would love to see a traditional mother-in-law looking at what you just said, have pets instead of children. That statement is going to be huge one, but today it's accepted. A lot of people do that. So Shalini, you have your, in your community, the interaction that you're doing with people. Is kids one reason why people want to meet each other, or is it because they're just lonely, or is it, is children a big part of the conversation?
Children is a part of the conversation. So I would say actually we had this discussion just 2 weeks back, and I think 80% of them do want to have a child. And 20% are absolutely fine not having a child. And it's just not the woman who wants to have a child. The man also wants to be a parent, right? But we always focus this on the woman. Maybe, and whilst I'm not a doctor, but I would say that maybe she is healthy, and maybe the man she meets, his sperm count may be low. So there is no guarantee that, whilst she wants to have a child, it may be possible that they cannot have a child. Right. So that education also has to be done. And we also ask, do you want to, and most of them, I would say, when I say 80% want to be parents, of which I would say 75% want to be biological parents. Right. But there is no education around it, that how can you be a parent? And also, what does it mean to be a parent? It's just not having a child, right? It's having a family and taking your relationship ahead, a healthy family more so. So yeah, so those are the kind of discussions we have.
Yeah, that's a very important aspect. I mean, we, like my husband and I had many conversations about it. In this, are we in the rat race of going from one sort of achievement to the other? We got married, we went around, we saw the world. We now what? What's next? Is that the step, or is it something that we want to build together? It's like putting something together and then actually being responsible for it. And of course, it comes with so much responsibility. It's not something that you do one day and then you forget about it the next.
Yeah, it's not an event, it's a part of life.
Exactly.
So I think to just catch up on all of that, even medically, when we take these decisions, sometimes it's not just we're talking about whether you can or you cannot freeze or it's a choice. Sometimes you have to look at welfare of the child, and you've got to see really when we sit down and we look at, there could be couples with various other issues, and is it the right thing? And as we all are agreeing upon that, whilst it could be a societal pressure, it could be a tick box, it could be a milestone. Sometimes it's like, it's like a FOMO. Oh, my best friend's having a kid.
Yeah.
So, if nothing else, doc, let's just freeze my eggs. And then what next? As we said, being a parent is not just procreating. It's the bigger picture. It is, are you going to be there? Are you going to be having that loving home? What are the standards you're setting for that child? So whilst, yes, in your late 30s or in your 40s, you could be more settled. But is your body, medically again, I'll say, at the right phase? Are you healthy? Will you be there when your child is 15? Would you be 60 at that point, or would you be 70? Now, as a lawyer, the government has set rules and ages for when you can be a parent. And there was a huge debate. That's another ethical dilemma. Can the government set an age and say, is 50 the right age to be a parent, or is 60 the right age? So as we were just having a discussion, the oldest man who became a father is from India, the oldest mother. But
And they're in the
very soon-
80s, or say,
Yes,
fathers in the
yes,
80s.
yes. And unfortunately, both passed, and they have literally left behind babies who are not even 2 or 3 years old. And then we talk about what is the support network for them. We are all not from the same realms of society. While we are lucky, and I myself, as you said, as a doctor, there is no timing. I have a huge support, touchwood, from my mother-in-law and from my mum. And there was a time I had to leave my child and go for a fellowship abroad. And it's not that it's only our society. Even abroad, people would look at me and say, oh my God, you've left your child and you've come here, as if it was the biggest crime on earth. So yes, I would doubt myself for my career choices. Myself as a mum, I love my kids more than anything on earth, but I love what I do. I am complete as a doctor, as a woman, as a mum, as a daughter-in-law, as a wife, as a friend. So I think there are so many realms we have to look at. It's not that simple. It's quite complicated. And I think if we as women can bunch up and, as you said, not only support the women, but the men, often they don't have the support either. And a man sometimes has so many pressures, because let's say you've got a lady who's frozen her eggs at 30 or 35. And the man suddenly now at 45 is having his semen checked, and it is suboptimal, or it's not good, or actually may not be producing sperm. It's the biggest shock. And I think just as we're empowering our women, we have to empower our men, our society, and we as generally unit to support every choice that we are enabling our generations to make.
No, that's actually, the men is also a conversation which we really need to have, Shalini. You've been having it with a lot of the men. So, what are their concerns?
I don't think they're, I think what I feel is I don't think people are educated enough on this topic. Everybody knows that they want to be a parent, but like their lifestyle, which we talked about earlier, I mean, one really doesn't know their health history. So nobody talks. I think everybody just takes it like one needs to start reading and researching and being aware. Even on topic like just a basic relationship, how do I enter into a relationship? Because we've seen our parents into a relationship, okay, that's my next step. But I just feel that on things like that, like you visit a doctor for a reason, every once a year or every 6 months, you go get a health checkup done. So start investing in your health checkup in different areas. Start talking about why do I want to enter a relationship? Go to an expert, get that clarity. You may be an expert in whatever, let's say you're a doctor, so you make a great doctor. You're a lawyer, you make a great lawyer. But you may not have idea about life, which we talk about, because and also because we've now started earlier. At one point in time, I think we lived as a community, right? Now with the nuclear family that's coming in,
Yeah, they have both mentioned support from their
right? So
families.
as a community, no, and also while we grew up in a community, right? We grew up in a neighborhood where even our neighbors looked out for us. Today, we don't want interference from anybody. Who do we go talk to?
Yeah. So, no.
Yeah, so earlier maybe a grandmom would have told the granddaughter, or a great grandmom would have told them, or somebody would have said, this is how you do, this is how you live health, this is
Yeah.
what it is, eat this, don't eat this. Today, nobody wants to listen to anyone.
Yeah. But, being a parent today, now offices are also more aware. I'm not just talking about maternity leave, but creches and, there are also help available, maybe not the family system, but there is. So are more and more kids, are they postponing not just because of IVF and the money issue, but just in terms of priorities? Is career more of a priority, or is motherhood an equal want?
I think it's an equal want, but it's pushed because of like career choices already, and the aspect of having support at the offices itself, including crutches and all, is something that you look at in large organizations.
Yeah.
Smaller organizations, where I think substantially a lot of the generation starts from, like starts working from. And also right now we are in the startup culture. we're all
Correct.
doing startups. So I mean, even startups do not have that kind of facilities available. You'll have your larger companies, I mean, the big four and any other of these corporations. You have HCL, you have Tata's. I'm sure they have those facilities available. Even if these facilities are available up, even if it's on the if it's in one of the floors in an organization, how much access do you have still? You know, your mind is still divided.
Right. Yeah.
Your mind is still, whether you're
Yeah.
upstairs on the 7th floor or you're on the ground floor where
Yeah.
the crèche is. And again, like it comes down to trust after that. That how well is it working in an organization where there are 400, 600 employees, and how many are using that facility and how many are satisfied with that facility. as well.
That's true. And also the other part is today's parents is not just motherhood. Fathers are pretty hands-on also.
Absolutely.
You do see a lot of that.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's
I think more than all of us women, I think our husbands and in my friend group, I think the husbands are very hands-on. I have not seen. I see that the education is coming from that side. That maybe you want to consider this exercise class. I'm like, okay, all right. Maybe you want to consider, adding this to your diet. I'm like, okay, why do you know so much? And the information is all available. I mean, it's right now the struggle is whether it's good information and bad information. But the information is all available. Like Pam was saying, that you need to have the conversations, only then you know that how accepting and how correct that information.
We need to have the conversations with the right people.
Right people.
With experts. And not just with anyone. So I think,
no, but it's good that the husbands. It's not just having a child; it's just motherhood. It's parenthood. So now husbands are changing diapers, and I liked it. And Virat Kohli, we did a show on that. When celebs do that and set an example, it's
And I think, like you were saying, we've got to, as women, also walk the talk. There's sometimes my patients who will come and say, my boss is a woman and may not be as supportive because she'll look at me and say, I've done it. You can do it.
हाँ ये भी है.
I had such a hard life. I did this. So what I did also is expecting. And she says, ma'am, we'll wait because there's going to be a change. And my boss, who's a man, may be more supportive. Or he's a bit scared right now that if he doesn't give it to me, what the bigger implications would be. So I think we as women have to also not be so judgmental and say, क्योंकि हमने ये किया वो सही है. If I could do it, you can do it is not the norm. And again, I would like to agree when you're looking at a choice, please choose the right center as well. If you're talking against freezing, please understand the process. Please understand what it entails. Please understand that what is the science behind it. And the place where you choose it should give you the optimal results with the specialist. It is not a guarantee, but it's not a gimmick as well. So there is the science to back it. Use it to your benefit.
fair enough. On that note, we've discussed choices and of course pressures from society, from also the biological clock. This is something that we are going to be discussing a lot more because this is a debate that is going on. But for now, thank you so much for watching this show.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.